If I may have your attention, we'll have a meeting of the Public Works Zoning Committee. Those present are members. Fowler. In absence is Mr. Marshall, but we also have the president, Mr. Smith, mayor, and company. First order of business from the administration concerning ways to improve word conditions at Lee and Foisey, and I think Ms. Muriel Lawson is going to address that.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, gentlemen. On last council meeting, a question arose from Councilman Smith as to improving the road conditions at Lee and Foisey. And in our investigation, and I have included a copy of that report, we did go out and we did a traffic count, traffic study. And from that, some of the improvements that we're recommending, or actually we've provided to try to curtail some of the situation with the accidents, is a traffic signal ahead. I do have photographs here, and we're hoping that the traffic that apparently is coming down Lee Street, some of which is maybe at excessive speed limits, is that these signs will let them know that there's a traffic signal ahead and maybe prevent some of the accidents by individuals running caution and also red lights. The chief of police is aware of what's going on, and I think they're going to be monitoring the area as well for speeders and individuals that are not obeying our traffic laws.
Do we have any record of how many tickets have been written for speeding in that area and red light running, or whatever you call it?
No, sir, I don't have that information with me. We can get with the police chief, and he could probably provide that to you maybe later on this afternoon.
It'd be interesting to see, when we know we have a trouble spot like that, what the enforcement has been on that. So
yes, sir.
Might look at that.
The only thing that we have right now would be the accident reports, but the speeding aspect of it would have to be acquired from the police chiefs.
Did you say how many accidents there have been?
Yes, sir. There've been approximately 8 accidents since the first part of the year.
Of the accidents, would you say, based on those reports, is it people just generally running red lights?
I'm not sure, and I don't want to get off into the report aspect from the police department. I think that's something that the police chief would have to discuss with you. My perspective on this was, what could we do from the Public Works Division as far as traffic is concerned to try to slow the traffic down. And we are investigating other opportunities as well to try to slow it down, as far as even maybe putting some stop signs up, which would slow it further down Lee Street. And that way we won't have an opportunity to build up speed, say, coming off of the interstate.
Do we maintain any kind of record as to the troublesome intersections in town where we have an unnecessary number of accidents? Do we have any kind of record of that?
There again, the records as far as accidents are concerned, I think would be within the jurisdiction of the police department. Okay. And that may be something we can come back with you at a later date with a report from the administration on that, sir.
Any other questions concerning Lee and Foisey? If not, we'll go on into maintenance of the city parks and make the recommendations on it. Ms. Lawson again.
Yes, sir. I'm going to ask that Coach Alfred Ratio come to the table. The administration was prepared, gentlemen, to possibly outsource some of the grass cutting. There have been numerous calls made into our office, to the mayor's office, and also you all have inquired about some of the parks not being maintained compared to other parks throughout town. And what we were looking at is affording the same landscape company the opportunity to man those areas. But we do have a new person that's on board, and as of today, he's convinced us to give him an opportunity. I've talked to the mayor and the chief operating officer about it, and we're going to try to go that route for the moment and see if it works. And we're very hopeful. He's convinced us. He has a few words that he'd like to share about what he's looking at to help improve the park and recreational areas. So we're asking at this time if you would afford us the opportunity to allow our employee, who's the acting superintendent of Parks and Recreation, the opportunity to show what he can do. He's only been in office maybe for the last 2 or 3 weeks, and so I don't know that that would be ample enough time to show what he can do.
Well, we'll be governed by what you have to say. Go ahead, Mr.
First thing, good evening. On behalf of the department and talking to Ms. Lawson, I asked her just to give my department a chance. After getting on board, I see some things that are happening, and I told her, just give me an opportunity, and we've talked to the men about taking some pride in what we have and what we plan on doing for the city of Alexandria in reference to our recreation area as well as our parks as well. And I just asked her, just give me the opportunity, and we will do the very best that we can to make sure that what you're looking for will be done through our department and not through someone else.
This embraces the grounds, the facilities there in the
Yes,
whole
sir.
thing.
All the federal parks, yes, sir.
Restrooms, et cetera.
Yes, sir.
And I do want to go on record as giving Darren Green, our urban forester, credit. He did go out and give us an estimate as to how much it would cost for us to take care of, I think, 10 of our park areas as far as maintenance. We kind of went over which ones we thought would be the ideal starting points for that. And so he's going to work along with our superintendent to try to make sure that the same appearance is given throughout Alexandria. And we're also going to do some things as far as landscape and improve the beautification of the parks, not just cutting the grass.
Well, I think given due time, we'll know whether or not it should be privatization or you can take it together, and I think you should be given that opportunity. Does everybody concur? Okay, that'll be all right.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Alfred. Something you want to say?
I was just thanking Alfred. He did some convincing for that.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have a couple of fact sheets I would like to present to the council for introduction if they so desire. One is the subdivision plat for England Drive subdivision. This is one that Mr. Marshall asked if we would bring before committee for introduction so that the contractor can get started as soon as possible on his construction. And the other fact sheet is just an easement affording availability of sewer so we can get wastewater to the project, which will be a city wastewater.
I move to introduce and send to Public Works.
Second. I'll second. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed, saying we'll be there at the meeting this afternoon. Is there anything else that you have for a moment?
Yes, I do. I don't have it with me. I'm going to have to present it at a later committee.
That's the amendment on that?
That'd be that change order I was talking about on Waverly.
Okay.
I'm waiting on the fact sheet to get here now, and I'll present it at a later committee if that's okay.
I have two minor things. One, I think it's a favorable comment. Katie, do you want to just highlight the current status on the CS building?
Sure, Mr. Silver. We have good news. We finally, of course, completed the preliminary work to working out an agreement to perform the repairs to Coughlin Saunders. The work actually began this morning. They began last Thursday erecting scaffolding over there so that they could begin taking down the bricks. They actually started the brick removal this morning. And so that project is now progressing, and Mr. Bo Neely is overseeing the progress of that project for us. So we look forward to a conclusion of that problem.
Thank you very much. I have one question. I mentioned it to you during the week, Mr. Johnson. I have not had many calls. Many people keep getting continual calls about that sunken ship at the Red River. Is there any way that you can possibly, at someone's expense, maybe yours, if someone get that before somebody gets killed? Without passing the buck?
Well, Mr. Silva, we're actively pursuing removal of those vessels right now. We've had some problems getting actual notice to the owners because some of them have different addresses. We're using our utility accounts and the occupational licenses department to try to locate these people. But until we can get actual notice to them that we're going to seize their property.
You know, the one with the most vulnerable is dead, so you're not going to be able to serve him.
That would be difficult.
Maxwell.
Yes, that would be hard.
At least I don't think so.
But we are pursuing it. Yes, yes. The ones that we do have notice on, we are pursuing the removals.
Thank you. Is there anything else to come before Public Works? If not, we'll stay. Sir, yes. Sir.
Several weeks ago, we brought up,
You might as well come over here before Roosevelt's asking you to move up there.
Several weeks ago, we brought up some questions on commercial buildings. We have one down the street on South MacArthur Drive that's fallen apart. It used to belong to Huber Station. You got some on Bayou Rapides Avenue that we've talked about that are dilapidated. Have you all done anything about that?
Muriel, do you want to address some of those? Because normally we call on you when you say what we can and cannot do on some of the commercial work.
I can speak briefly about it, sir.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's actually not a public works venture. However, the administration is looking at what we can do. Of course, when you get off into commercial developments, it's a quite expensive task. Some of the enforcement as far as demolishing them or boarding them up can be enforced through the fire department with fire codes as well as through community development. Ultimately, if I'm remembering correctly, the enforcement of it is going to be through the building inspector for the city of Alexandria, which would be the planning division. So I think what we would probably need to do is afford the administration an opportunity to come back maybe in 2 weeks with a plan, and maybe we can tell you an estimate as to how much it would cost on an average basis, maybe by the square footage, and that's still not necessarily accurate at that time, if it's acceptable, sir.
I suggest, Mr. Reverend, that you also speak with Ms. Aru. I think she'll handle it.
Yes, sir.
Anything else to me?
Ms. McGill's can probably.
Mr. Silver, let me just touch on what Muriel has mentioned to you. When we talked about this the last time, we talked about condemnation of commercial properties, and we discussed how that was really not a very feasible area for us to venture off into because of all of the environmental issues that are involved with these commercial properties, and how we would be assuming the liability for those. If we took those buildings down, we would have to have environmental studies, we would have to have disposal of hazardous waste. I recently traveled to Shreveport to meet with their community development department because they have initiated a program up there for dealing with adjudicated properties, and they use the expropriation statute and under the state law to expropriate those adjudicated properties, and that's something that we're studying and looking into. But in discussing this same problem with them about what do they do with commercial properties, they advised that they had never used their expropriation policy on a commercial property. I think they were, actually, I take that back, they were expropriating their first condemned and adjudicated commercial property. And they were looking for a court battle on that. In fact, they had been engaged already in a legal battle over that property. We run into the same issue time and time again, that it's really a budgetary matter, and we're going to have to budget a lot of money if we're going to start going into commercial properties and taking those properties down, cleaning up the waste. In Shreveport, about the only thing they do is board the properties up.
I know he has some extension reservations down the parallel trailways on Bolton Avenue. We're still looking for prospective buyers. So it's sort of a catch-22. We have to be a little bit careful for financial reasons, liability, etc. But she'll follow up on it. We'll try to keep you posted.
Mr. Silver, that's the same issue as the boats are. I just want to draw the parallel. It's about getting notice to folks. It becomes very expensive for us to go do something and not have provided this notice. It's a problem everywhere. This is not unique to Alabama.
Let me ask this question too, on the commercial properties, because a lot of commercial properties are, could have been at one time places that would have a chemical residue, either in the soil, parking lots and such as that. If we get into doing those type things and we run into hazardous materials, waste, whatever, who's going to be responsible for the cleanup when the property has basically been abandoned already, if we get into it?
Exactly.
That can be bazillions of dollars.
If we expropriate it or adjudicate it, it becomes ours, and
Well, we don't
it
want
becomes our responsibility. And of course, as you know, it can be very expensive to do that hazardous waste cleanup.
Make a gift to the federal government of it.
I don't think they want it.
We don't either.
Something else? Yes, sir. Do you have those proposals now?
Just a second.
Why don't you read those, and then we'll be through. This is really not an act of omission, you just couldn't get the papers prepared sooner.
Which is for Mr. Silver, extra work that we are requesting to perform on Waverly Boulevard project. Additional complaints were received in that area on West Gordon and Wellington. The amount of the overrun is going to be approximately $18,000, which we can approve up to 10% of a contract for a change order. Well, this one's going to run about 18–19%. Therefore, we need council authorization to, expend these extra funds. And we're requesting that y'all let us do this so that we can save funds from mobilization and signing and barricading charges, from the contractor. Since he's in the area, he'll go ahead and do the work.
Well, 18 plus, so it's really not as bad as you think.
No, sir. No, sir.
What was the mobilization and signage?
$10,000. Well, actually, and on the two streets, each street would be five each.
Okay.
That's about the amount that we're increasing it above what we could do anyway.
Actually, yeah, that's about right. Real close.
Panel replacement, isn't it?
Panel replace, program C. Yes.
I'll move.
Second. Okay. All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And this will be introduction, so.
Thank you. Anything else before I move? If not, we'll stand adjourned. Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Okay, we'll move into utilities. We have one item on our agenda. We postponed it 2 weeks ago in order for Mr. Cannella to finalize his information gathering as far as the utility comparison. I think that the cities that we compared to were Pineville, Lake Charles, and Monroe. Monroe and Lake Charles being relatively the same or similar size to us, and Pineville simply because we're always compared to them as far as expense. I'll now turn the floor over to Mr. Cannella if he's ready, and we'll proceed. If you have any questions as we go along, please raise your hand, and Mr. Cannella will recognize you as he can pause in his dissertation there.
We need to turn a few lights off.
All right. Mr. Cannella?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. We're here today to talk about our favorite subject, utility bills. I talked to Mr. Fowler and also the mayor, and we had agreed that the best way to maybe present this would take the last 3 months of bills that we've received and compare the rates. We've heard a lot of talk from some of our customers that, the utility bills in Alexandria are too expensive, we're going to have to move, or people from the outside area saying that, we just can't move to Alexandria because our bills the bills are too high. So we decided to go ahead and take word of caution with that, and let's actually compare those bills with the same consumption and see where everything falls. So what we decided to do was have a utility bill comparison between the city of Alexandria, the city of Lake Charles, the city of Monroe, and the city of Pineville. And we're evaluating what's normally on our bill, which will be electric, natural gas, sanitation, water, and wastewater. And this utility bill comparison represents utility bills received for April, May, and June of 2007. Now this next slide's a little busy, so y'all bear with me on this. What I did was I took a bill and we compared some of the consumption, which that's the electric consumption, that would be natural gas, water, wastewater, or sanitation's a flat fee. And I'll go through and explain what all these numbers mean. And I have 9 of these slides, so I'm gonna go through the first one, and then I'll get to what really the most important part is this down here. What does it all cost? The first numbers here would be the electric rate charge to a customer for 842 kilowatt hours. And this is the fuel charge for that amount of electricity for that month. The second charge is our city rate charge for operation and maintenance for 7.1 MCF of gas, and then that's the fuel cost. And then, of course, we have a sanitation flat $16 fee, and then this fee represents our disposal fee, what it costs for us to dispose of the garbage and trash at the landfill. And I added this cost, which is our environmental compliance fee. I just threw it in here because it looked like the best place to put it. And of course, here's water. This is our water charge for 400 cubic feet, and that's our wastewater charge. For Pineville, this is their rate charge, which you see ours are pretty comparable. Here is their fuel cost. This is a storm recovery fee, which they charge for the hurricanes, past hurricanes. And then this charge is sometimes hidden or sometimes added on the bill. This is, Pineville has a 4% franchise fee that they charge to their customers for electricity. So that's what that number represents. And they receive their gas from Atlas, and Atlas has a flat fee of $11.50 for every customer. They don't have a varying, and you'll see